Now we have the closing address by Mr. Nitin Pai, co-founder and director of Takshashila Institute.
Members of the Takshashila family, a very good morning to all of you. You heard me say this many times, but I'll say this again. Changing India is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's not something that you can do overnight. You have to run this. You have to run this long race and prepare for this race as you would prepare for a marathon. You've heard this many, many times, but I want to repeat it to you again. But when you run this long race, it's very easy to get disappointed. You see this rock which doesn't seem to be moving, and this is your job to move that rock, and you stare at that rock, you sing to that rock, you do all sorts of dances around that rock, but the rock does not move. And you get, very often you get very upset, very disappointed. So what I want to talk about in the 5 minutes that I have today is that do not be disappointed, and do not lower your ambitions just because that rock does not move. Move that mountain. If you can't move the rock, move the mountain. I think Manish put it much better than I could. You know, why not jump off the 100th story? Because your outcomes will be the same and you have more time. So do not be deterred, do not be discouraged from thinking big, thinking audacious, and thinking that you will do something which most people consider impossible. 4 years ago, people told us that liberalizing the space sector in India is impossible. Takshashila is wasting its time, energy, and donor funding trying to liberalize the space sector, which is not going to happen. In the middle of the pandemic, the Prime Minister announced the liberalization of the space sector. Nobody tried it before us, I guess. We tried it, and we have a small role in making that happen. So the impossible can happen. The second is, even as you think of doing these big, audacious, impossible things, do not hesitate to take small steps. If a 1 centimeter progress is what you can do today, just take that chance, do that 1 centimeter forward, move that forward. Because as long as you're in the game and moving in that positive direction, you'll be able to move those things, and with a lot of patience. 2 things, emotions, sentiments that we need to nurture. All of us at Takshashila are trying to nurture it. I'm trying that, my colleagues are trying that, and I want you to also inculcate that. It's a hard thing, but you can try. The first one is called hope. Reagan's foreign Secretary of State, once said, George Shultz said that hope is not a strategy. Einstein, who was mentioned earlier, once said that the sure sign of insanity is doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. Both these guys were wrong. Because if you study human society, which is a complex adaptive system, there is a property which comes out of complexity called emergence. Things change at some random time after you repeat it, like the origin of life. You know, molecules of carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen were banging around, in some form on the old earth for millions of years, trillions of times. And it was always atoms or molecules of ammonia and carbon and all of these things. And then suddenly, these things clash and one day there is life. That's emergence. So, hope is therefore a rational response to a complex society. That if you stay in the game, you keep doing something again and again and again, at some point, things will happen. Life will emerge, magic will happen. More so in public policy and human affairs, and some would contend in our family lives, than in any other discipline of science. The second emotion which I want to leave you with is reassurance. People look to us as leaders of one way or the other for reassurance. People are frightened, people are anxious, people are afraid in these uncertain times, and they look towards somebody to provide them that leadership. You get an imposter syndrome because you're dealing with the same challenges yourself. But people look to you, and you have to do your best to provide them that reassurance that things will change, things will improve as things go forward. That is one single emotion, even if you don't do anything else with your public policy qualification. If you can reassure people, you can reassure people that tomorrow is going to be a better day than today, and we should stay in the game and not lose hope, you will be doing something extremely important. We can build an entire edifice of India's future on your providing that reassurance to the people around you. Last point. How did reassurance happen in the past? I think the Buddha was cited in the proceedings today. The Buddha said, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. I am not here to give you a religious discourse. But if you use the word Buddha to mean what it is enlightenment, knowledge, that spark. What he's saying is take refuge in enlightenment, in your own enlightenment, the knowledge that you have, the critical inquiry which Kajari spoke about, which was mentioned in the Shastras. Take refuge in your own enlightenment. Number one. Number two, take refuge in the dharma. What does dharma mean? Again, I'm not a spiritual leader, but dharma as we understand it are norms of holding a relationship together. If you do your dharma as a parent, as a spouse, as a member of a family, as a member of a society, as a citizen, as a military officer, as a government servant, as a politician, if you do it the right way, things will improve. That's the way we hold this relationship, our nation, our society, our civilization together. So take refuge in doing your dharma, your duty, the right thing which you have to do. And the last is Sangha. Now, the good news is we are in the information age, and I would like to take this opportunity to officially announce Open Takshashila. It is a Sangha of the new age. You can be anywhere on the planet using any device, and you can connect with the Takshashila family on opentakshashila.net. It's a platform where not only we teach courses, you can teach courses. Many of you are experts in various disciplines. You can teach those disciplines, that expertise, share it with your classmates, and indeed share it with the rest of the world. So coming together as a Sangha, as a family, as a group of people who have a common interest in improving our society, I think that is a place where you can seek refuge and where you can find the sustenance. That's the place where you can find the hope and the courage and the reassurance that you can provide to everybody else. I would like to end this by thanking a lot of people. I must thank Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary for being a mentor to his team in the Indian Air Force and in the broader defense community. He's done remarkable things to uplift the thinking capacity of India and the Indian Armed Forces during the time that he's been the chief. And I really want to thank him for gracing this occasion. To Manish for just being that spark, that the challenge, the feedback, the source of encouragement for a lot of things that we do at Takshashila, and of course for being here and guiding us and giving us very, very interesting sparks of inspiration today. Thank you, Manish. There are a whole lot of people I need to thank. The Commandant of MEG, the staff of MEG who made this happen, the dignitaries who are here, the caterers, the photographers, and a whole lot of people who, part of this ecosystem, tried to get this thing off the ground in a very short time that we've had time to plan it and execute it. Thank you all of you for making this happen. I want to thank Soumya and her team, the Takshashila team, who I think I'm trying to find a word to describe it. Let's put it this way. They did a lot of unconventional things, including trying to dress formally for this occasion. And I think my real gratitude to them, because it was entirely a show put together by Soumya and the team. And they just told me to turn up at a certain time and a certain date, and things will happen. And it did happen. Thank you, team. And finally, I don't want to thank the graduates because you guys have to thank us. But what I want to thank is I want to thank the families of our graduates and our families of our staff who are here. Because ultimately, this business of succeeding in public policy, this business of changing the country, requires the complete support of our families, our parents, our spouses, our partners, and including our 1-year-old children who are here, whose presence with us gives us the kind of support to take that extra step. So a big round of applause to the families. You are the ones who I put the graduates in charge of, or with. Let me phrase it this way. You are now in charge of our graduates. You have to make them succeed. So I put the monkey on your back, and I wish you all the very best in making this happen. Thank you.